Africa International. It's time for the news.
In today's top stories are the opening of a high-level conference entitled North Africa Connecting Continents, Creating Opportunities. Prime Minister Sifir Ayib highlighted Algeria's role in promoting African integration through structural reforms and major projects with a continental dimension as part of a national vision aimed at diversifying the economy. Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf has recalled the particular attention paid by the state to the concerns of the national community established abroad. The Rafah border crossing in southern Gaza was reopened in both directions today morning as UNRWA warned that the continued failure to operate the crossing at full capacity would keep the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip unchanged. Hello and welcome. Those were the headlines and now the news in details. I'm Jamal Salmani. At the opening of a high-level conference entitled North Africa Connecting Continents, Creating Opportunities, Prime Minister Sifir Ayib highlighted Algeria's role in promoting African integration through structural reforms and major projects with a continental dimension as part of a national vision aimed at diversifying the economy. The details in this report by Mr. Sharfi.
Presiding over the opening of a high-level conference entitled North Africa Connecting Continents, Creating Opportunities, Mr. Sifir Ayib has said that the theme of the meeting expresses the hope and promising opportunities that abound in the North Africa region, as well as the strategic vision that recognizes this region's historic and strategic role as an essential link between Africa and Europe and between the Mediterranean basin and Africa. In the same context, Mr. Sifir Ayib mentioned the North-South Rail Link project, which will increase the total length of the national network from around 6,000 kilometers currently to around 9,000 kilometers, also highlighting Algeria's effort to develop its network of ports and airports and create logistics platforms in border areas with a view to promoting trade and stimulating investment.
تسخر الجزائر إمكانيات.
Algeria is dedicating enormous resources to developing adequate infrastructure for continental connectivity and regional integration through an advanced road network that spans the entire country and is part of a realistic vision of regional integration, particularly the Trans-Saharan Highway. Algeria is also carrying out an ambitious railway connectivity plan, including the Western Basin Line, which the President of the Republic inaugurated earlier this week, and the Eastern Mainland Line, which will be ready before the end of the current year. In addition to the North-South Railway connection, bringing the total railway lines across the country, currently around 6,000 kilometers, up to nearly 9,000 kilometers.
He added that throughout history, North Africa has been an area of movement of people and goods, as well as an environment for the exchange of ideas and cultural dialogue, and we are now called upon to consolidate this identity and modernize its horizons in order to face current challenges. The Prime Minister also hailed the quality of the partnership between the Bank of Algeria and the International Monetary Fund (IMF) to strengthen global economic and financial stability, promote sustainable development, and consolidate international economic cooperation. The Prime Minister concluded that the purpose of this conference was to provide a platform for frank dialogue and strategic planning, develop practical solutions, and provide an opportunity to exchange experiences and identify the most effective ways to jointly consider how to promote fundamental reforms to ensure the construction of a more integrated and connected common space capable of meeting challenges.
Premier Sifir Ayib received the managing director of the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, Kristalina Georgieva. And earlier, the Minister of Finance, Abdelkader Bouzerd, has received also Ms. Kristalina Georgieva attending the International Economic Seminar organized by the financial institution in partnership with the Bank of Algeria. During the meeting attended by the acting governor of the Bank of Algeria, Boustassim Boudieff, and several bank officials, Mr. Bouzerd reviewed the achievements made in recent years and pointed to major national economic indicators showing significant improvement, particularly in terms of growth and economic diversification. For her part, Ms. Georgieva praised the performance of the Algerian economy, highlighting in particular the investments Algeria has made over the past years in infrastructure and human capital, which have begun to bear fruit. She also highlighted Algeria's progress in investment, digitization, non-hydrocarbon exports, and public services, hailed or praised 2025's resilient growth and decline in inflation, noted opportunities from technology, global supply chains, and renewable energies, emphasized Algeria's potential as a regional energy hub, and said her visit strengthens the IMF's partnership with Algerian authorities. Now, the Minister of State in charge of hydrocarbons and mines, Mohamed Arqab, has discussed here in Algiers with the Italian Minister of Environment and Energy Security, Gilberto Pichetto Fratin, ways to strengthen cooperation and partnership between the two countries. More details with Masoud Sharfi.
The meeting took place during the visit of the Italian minister and his delegation to Algeria to participate in the seminar organized by the Bank of Algeria with the International Monetary Fund titled North Africa, Connecting Continents and Creating Opportunities, and was attended by Sonatrach Group Chairman and CEO Nordin Daudi, Al-Naft head Samir Bakhti, and ministry officials. During the meeting, the two sides reviewed the excellent cooperation and partnership between Algeria and Italy, especially in the oil and gas sector, through existing partnerships between Algerian and Italian companies such as Sonatrach and Eni, and emphasized strengthening and expanding these ties. They also discussed investment and business opportunities, exchanging expertise in hydrocarbons, knowledge and technology transfer, reducing the carbon footprint, and implementing the Matei plan to support African countries in energy, oil and gas infrastructure and supply chain diversification for sustainable development. In this context, Mr. Arqab praised efforts to build partnership based on mutual respect and shared interest in the energy sector, highlighted Algeria's role as a reliable natural gas supplier in the Mediterranean, noted its initiative to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and implement environmental programs, and emphasized the need to involve European companies in energy development, resource processing, and emission reduction projects.
Algeria has been elected by acclamation to the position of Vice President of the Preparatory Commission, PrepCom, of the United Nations Conference on the Prevention and Suppression of Crimes Against Humanity, representing the African Group. The election, which took place at the end of last January at the United Nations headquarters in New York, reflects recognition by Algeria's active role and prominent position on the international stage, particularly in promoting international justice, respecting international law, defending human rights, and contributing to the support of just causes worldwide. This commission is tasked with preparing the 2028-2029 UN Conference on the Prevention of Suppression of Crimes Against Humanity, aiming to draft an international convention to prevent and punish crimes such as colonialism, slavery, apartheid, forced displacement, and other major violations of human dignity. The Minister of Foreign Trade and Export Promotion, Kamal Razik, has renewed in Cairo, Egypt, during the opening of the 117th Ordinary Session of the Economic and Social Council of the Arab League, Algeria's commitment as the presiding country of the session to supporting joint Arab cooperation according to an integrated vision. More details with Masoud Sharfi.
In a speech on the occasion, Mr. Azig affirmed Algeria's commitment to contributing to the formulation of a comprehensive Arab vision that strengthens Arab cooperation in the fields of economic and social development and coordination to reach practical solutions to address the various current challenges facing our Arab countries. After thanking the Tunisian Minister Samir Ubaid, Mr. Azig said Algeria views joint Arab action in economic and social fields as key to overcoming challenges and achieving sustainable development. In In light of global economic changes, the minister emphasized building a resilient Arab economic bloc with coordinated action and announced that Algeria will host next April the second Arab International Conference and Exhibition for small and medium industries, enhancing competitiveness and innovation, while highlighting the Green Dam project relaunched by President Abdelmajid Tebboune. The minister noted Algeria's effort to combat desertification through the strategic Green Dam project relaunched by President Abdelmajid Tebboune and highlighted Algeria's initiative on the impact of artificial intelligence on the Arab labor market, promoting responsible AI use, sustainable development, and social justice. Mr. Razik called for solidarity with Palestinians, especially in Gaza, condemned Zionist aggression, reaffirmed Algeria's support for a Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital, and urged the Arab League's Economic and Social Council to support Palestinian resilience while addressing hardships in Yemen and Sudan.
You're still listening to Radio Algeria International. And as you followed in our top stories, the Minister of State in charge of Foreign Affairs, the National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, has presided here in Algiers over the closing session of the Conference of Heads of Consular Posts, recalling the particular attention paid by the state to the concerns of the national community established abroad. In an address delivered on this occasion, Mr. Attaf said the conference featured rich debates and practical conclusions to strengthen consular work, praising its comprehensive program and thanking all sectors that contributed to its success. Mr. Attaf said that modernizing consular services is essential for the state to meet the community's needs and protect its interests abroad, emphasizing the importance of holding such conferences regularly to evaluate and improve consular work. The Minister of State said the seminar reflects President Tebboune's strategy, highlighting the central role of the national diaspora in foreign policy.
هذه الطبعة الجديدة من ندوة رؤساء المراكز القنصلية يندرج.
This new edition of the Seminar of Heads of Consular Centers falls within our commitment to the strategic orientation set by the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, regarding the central dimension of the national diaspora in the overall foreign policy of our country. It is also the same strategic orientation that the President of the Republic has embodied in a comprehensive and integrated global vision reflecting the importance, the place and the role of the national community abroad.
Mr. Attaf stressed the need to modernize consular services and provide legal protection, urging consular heads to defend citizens' rights abroad.
توفير الحماية القانونية والقنصلية.
Providing legal and consular protection to members of our community abroad, you are required to pay the utmost attention to this issue, which constitutes the essence of consular work and its supreme objective, particularly through the defense of citizens' interests and the protection of their rights against any injustice or abuse to which they may be exposed in their countries of residence. Most of you, ladies and gentlemen, heads of consular centers abroad, are the best witnesses to modern practices and to the repeated attempts to undermine or even weaken the priority of this fundamental principle in consular work.
That was Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf. Now to the Middle East. In the state of Palestine, the Rafah border crossing in southern Gaza was reopened in both directions today morning, allowing the departure of patients and humanitarian cases, as well as the return of stranded Palestinian residents to Gaza. Spokesperson for the Palestinian Red Crescent Society, Rada Nams, said that the fourth batch of humanitarian cases, including patients, wounded and injured individuals, had been prepared. On Wednesday, the Israeli occupying authorities prevented patients and wounded individuals from traveling through the Rafah crossing after informing the World Health Organization that the coordination for the departure of the third batch, which was scheduled to leave for medical treatment, had been cancelled. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, UNRWA, warned that the continued failure to operate the Rafah crossing at full capacity would keep the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip unchanged without achieving any real improvement at the required pace, which means continued loss of life. Mr. Sharfi again.
The agency's spokesperson, Jonathan Fowler, explained that medical evacuations remain extremely limited at a time when the quantities of humanitarian aid entering the Gaza Strip are still very low.
It's absolutely critical. I mean, all border crossings need to function properly, and Rafah notably, because this is the main way in and out of Gaza for people who live in the Gaza Strip. There are some 20,000 patients in need of critical care, anything from people with severe injuries through to people who've been suffering from cancer and not being able to get the treatment. These people need to be able to get out to get medical care because the hospital system is almost completely collapsed inside the Gaza Strip. So if a crossing like Rafah is not allowed to function at the scale and the potential that it could function at, the humanitarian consequences on the ground are not going to be alleviated quickly enough. And this means more lives lost, this means more disease spreading, and it means that people won't be able to get the adequate shelter materials that they need to cope with severe weather. I mean, on every indicator, the situation is disastrous still within the Gaza Strip.
For his part, Sam Rose, acting director of UNRWA Affairs in Gaza, highlighted the agency's estimates indicate that at least 20,000 people are in urgent need of medical care. Rose warned that delays in getting patients out of the Strip for treatment increase the likelihood of their death or worsening health conditions.
I mean, I hope that everybody that needs treatment gets out as quickly as possible. We are right now talking about small numbers, at least in the first instance. And if you do the maths of 150 people per day and 20,000 people waiting to get out, we're talking several months. And many of these people, they're desperately sick, ill, injured inside of Gaza. They simply don't have that time. So what we've got to hope, and hopefully the pilot yesterday was successful, that once this gets up and running, the numbers of people who are allowed to exit and the number of people who are allowed to enter, that increases. Because if it doesn't, then, frustrations, unfortunately, inside of the Gaza Strip are going to grow. So this is a very positive development. We hope it goes well, and we hope we do see increases in those numbers so that everybody who can get out, needs to get out, can get out before they suffer even more.
UNRWA called for the Rafah crossing to be fully and sustainably open to facilitate the movement of patients and the flow of humanitarian aid, holding the international community responsible for taking urgent action to prevent further humanitarian deterioration in the Gaza Strip.
Now, in other news, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, launched an appeal on Thursday for $400 million to meet growing human rights needs in certain countries after cuts in donor funding significantly reduced his office's work. In a speech in Geneva, Turk urged delegates to increase their support.
In times of conflict and in times of peace, we are lifeline for the abused, a megaphone for the silenced, and a steadfast ally to those who risk everything to defend the rights of others. In Sudan, we are providing vital support to survivors of sexual violence and other horrific atrocities, paving the way for justice and accountability. In the occupied Palestinian territory, we are leading the protection cluster, having trained more than 320 personnel to identify people in need of specialized assistance. Our estimated needs for 2026 amount to $400 million in voluntary funding. And we need more unearmarked and timely contributions so we can respond quickly, as human rights cannot wait. The cost of our work compared to so many other costs is low. The human cost of underinvestment is immeasurable. At this critical juncture, this amount will enable us to defend all rights, civil, political, social, cultural, and economic, of all people. So we really hope very much to count on your continued support and look forward to working closely with you.
That was UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk. And with this, we come to the end of our news bulletin for today. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to your weekly program,